Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your in-depth monthly forecast for March 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some key details from what is going to be an incredibly powerful month. But then please stay with me. I will dive deeper and give you all the key dates and influences particularly relevant to your sign. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new to my channel, it's great to have you with me. Please comment. I interact with all comments. This is very much a community. But also please like and subscribe. Now, of course, Saturn has been with you, your co-ruler, for 2.5 years in total. But on the 7th, it is going to move into the sign of Pisces, which brings a different set of opportunities, but also, of course, potentially some challenges. But on the 23rd, Pluto pitches up and arrives in your sign, but only for 11 weeks and only up to 22 minutes of the sign of Aquarius. So it's a brief sojourn this year, but it's still a powerful event. But I want to tell you about activity in house 3, very much to do with how you think, express yourself, connect with others, because there's some wonderful energy at the start and end of the month, and also with the arrival of Mercury and then the spring equinox on the 19th and 20th of the month. Your ability to convey, persuade, interact with others in an incredibly important way is definitely going to be heightened. So really exciting stuff. Please stay with me for more. But if you would like to understand how your personal astrology is impacting on every day of your life, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data, of time, date and place of birth, I can produce your life roadmap report, which will help you to get a much more intimate understanding of those patterns, sometimes the challenging ones that keep coming up, but also helping you to seize opportunities more firmly. In my special package of 30% off, you can also get your 12-month forecast, again, totally unique and personal to you. Please see the link beneath this video for more on that. So Aquarius, your March begins with the Sun in house 2, Pisces, along with Neptune. Now, they're going to be joined by Mercury on the 2nd, but not before Mercury gets into a tight encounter with your co-ruler Saturn in Aquarius. Over the last few years, some of your ideas, the things that you're really passionate about, your individuality, has probably been tested to the absolute max by some of the resistance to that part of you that can be very different to others. But I feel that the combination of Mercury and Saturn can help you to celebrate the quality of what makes you an individual and what has given you more will and more gravitas in terms of those creative or imaginative ideas. But it is true that Mercury then pitches into Pisces, technically, obviously in detriment, but this journey through Pisces is going to be relatively short because Mercury will then move on the 19th into Aries, which for you is a better location. But Mercury is asking you to think about your everyday resources, but then the Sun and Neptune are already actively doing that. But also on the 2nd, Venus and Jupiter, the 2 planets of fortune, are combining in your 3rd house. Now, because you're an air sign, the 3rd house is very much in keeping with your sister air sign of Gemini. So this is sparkling, charismatic, effervescent communication. But these 2 planets can bring real opportunities. Jupiter is about growth, but it can bring fortune. Now, modern astrology isn't so much about random acts of fortune. It's much more to do with what we do to make the most of our qualities at the right time. So obviously timing is very important in astrology, and then we can maximize the percentage chance we have of a return. But some kind of serendipity could occur around something you say, a contract, some technology, a connection to a neighbour, or even a sibling. All of those can be blessed right at the start of this month through till the 6th. Then they prize apart a little beyond the 6, from the 6th beyond 3 degrees. But Venus then goes on to forge a very influential link to Mars. And Mars has been in your sector of demonstrative and rather gallant drama, the 5th house, since August, but has been afflicted quite a lot by the pre and post shadow period, and of course the retrograde from the 30th of October to the 12th of January. And that post shadow retrograde ends at the heart of this month. However, this initial glitzy and rather charismatic, glittering even, angle between Venus and Mars can help you to really put yourself across it in the most lovely of ways. And that could have some fantastic potential in your social situation in terms of expressing your talents. There could even be a lovely connection romantically. If you're in a pretty sound relationship, it could warm up between you and yours, particularly if you both enjoy the good things in life, good food, good wine, all those kind of things, all being boosted by house 2, which is in Pisces but has a Taurus kind of feel, because that is the sign that governs house 2. But on the 7th we have the full moon and the arrival of Saturn in Pisces. Now, one of the things that Saturn's been asking you and I to do over the last 2.5 years in total is focus on those talents, but also narrow our focus. So if you have been able to really hunker down and be very thorough and systematic towards working with the things that really inspire you, I feel that this can be a time when you can see the reward. So we often see and hear about the threatening and rather challenging influences of Saturn, and we can't deny that is a potential. Saturn in the 2nd house often affects people's sense of self-worth, for example. It's not just about having to work very hard to make a living, but there could be other parts of your income that do start to come to an end. So I would say it could be the culmination of talents give you a reward, or something that you're not really engaged with any longer could fade out of your life. And what Saturn is asking you and I to do is work harder on new things that do feel important in terms of creating a firm foundation. But of course on the 7th there's also a full moon. But it's a full moon that goes across the 2nd and 8th axes, but also includes the dazzling electric energy of your modern ruler Uranus in house 4. So anything to do with finances linked to a property matter, I think there could be some good news or some new or fresh thinking that help to balance the ins and outgoings that we've all been grappling with as the cost of living has increased. But also this full moon in house 8 for you is about transformation and where you're most invested, and it's forging a quincunx with Chiron and Jupiter in a conjunction in house 3. So your ideas, particularly with Venus at this stage being also in Aries, your ideas may not necessarily seem to fit with what some people expect. So there could be some kind of discourse or disagreement, not just about money, but it because your value systems are so radically different to someone else's. However, on the 15th, with Mars coming out of shadow in the very sexy 5th house, the playful 5th house, you'll take that, won't you? But Mars does then get back into a tussle with Neptune that it had through October, November, first week December. So not a great time around strands of chance. So if you're someone who's investigating doing something that's different, more risk-taking in terms of the odds, particularly if you are trying to rejuvenate your financial situation, remember that Mars can make us bold, but Neptune can confuse us. And also it can distort our reality in terms of what is really worthwhile. So go careful on that one. But on the 16th, Venus does move into Taurus. If you're wanting to redecorate, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, buy new furnishings, or you'd like to have more time with your family, a gathering, a reunion, then a wonderful time could be had. Also, Saturn provides great support. So Saturn and Venus together doesn't sound like a very cheerful arrangement. But remember, Venus is about money in Taurus and worth, self-worth. The relating side of Venus comes from Libra. So here there could be something or a point you get to where you actually feel pretty good about a particular situation. It could be a contract, it could be a job offer, or something that can help you to feel more secure in your emotional life, Venus being in the 4th house. Unfortunately, Pluto late in Capricorn at this stage squares up with Venus late in Aries, and then as Pluto moves into Aquarius on the 23rd, once Venus has moved, the square continues. So there can be some chaffing between the way people represent a situation, their personalities, the charm that's used, over what the real motives are. Pluto, the power. Just be conscious of that. Now on the 19th, Mercury pings into Aries, and it's great because things will speed up. Your mind, which is often very quick-witted, Mercury rules the 2nd decan of Aquarius and also is exalted in Aquarius. You're going to love Mercury being in the 3rd house because this is very much like its stage of Gemini that it governs. Things will speed up if you've been waiting for an email or a letter or some kind of confirmation. If things will get zippier and zestier, and you'll appreciate that. But on the 20th, the spring equinox ushers in the start of the Western tropical astrological calendar and cardinal quadrant 1. The year, those seasons are divided by 4 13ths, and they're all ruled by cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn. So this first one, and for the next 13 weeks, is going to see you up in the ante when it comes to how you interact with other people. So it's going to be a busy time. Expect lots of messages and emails to be pinging backwards and forwards. You could interact more with neighbours during this period too. The 21st sees a new moon. The important thing about a 3rd house new moon is not just to be enthusiastic about our feelings, but actually say what we really feel, because the 3rd house can see us expressing ourselves in a rather quick but not always thought through way. So because Mars in Gemini, late in Gemini, is forging a square to this very early new moon in Aries, there could be a little bit of a discordant energy between what you want to do as an individual and actually whether it's good for you in terms of your emotional security. Someone around you, like a family member, could be judgmental, a bit forceful. The 23rd, Pluto arrives in your sign for that 11-week stay, but it quincunxes with Mars just preparing to go into Cancer, which happens on the 25th. Mars in Cancer for you actually is really good. Of course, Mars is in its fall in Cancer, but the 6th house, Mars lets go of some of its need for attention and is much more focused on being productive and potentially being of service to others. Because Aquarius people can be very much humanitarians, that might work quite well, but balancing what you want to do as an individual, Pluto, the mighty tiny Pluto in your sign, is really at odds with Mars pushing you to be more self-sacrificing. Which is going to get the upper hand? There could be some sort of some misalignment going on in your intentions or how people receive what you're trying to do. But then in the last week, Mercury speeds up, goes alongside Jupiter, and once more, like the start of the month, some kind of good fortune can come through. Maybe your ideas or some creative writing or a website you're involved with, or your enthusiasm for something, or stuff you do locally in your community in a charitable, voluntary or contributory way, those can also be celebrated. You may find that you're spending a lot more time getting to know people immediately around you. But there's no doubt that Saturn moving into the second house is going to be asking some questions, but also remember it could be providing some rewards. So it's an exciting month, but despite the role of Saturn and Pluto, I think it's your third house which is really buzzing, and that's going to be the area that's going to be most interesting for you and for me. Thank you so much for joining me, Aquarius. Please like, comment or subscribe.